Well, it's time for our prophecy update, as we do every week. I don't know how many of you know, but of course, last week I was on the mainland at the Calvary Chapel Conference Center, where Calvary Chapel pastors from all over the world come for a week-long conference, actually Monday through Thursday. I really had a wonderful opportunity to just fellowship with some pastor friends and really get a chance to fellowship with them, and of course sit under the teaching of the best Bible teachers in the world with other pastors from all over the world. I got to meet pastors from Tokyo, from Japan, from South Africa, from Brazil. I mean, all over the world. It was just wonderful, just a rich, wonderful time. But I don't know if you know this or not, but the theme of the conference was pastoring in the last days. And it was all about really, and we went through the first letter to the Thessalonian church, which is all about the rapture and what it's going to be like in the last days. And so we had Dr. Thomas Ice, Mark Hitchcock, Norman Geisler. Of course, Pastor Chuck always speaks. Damian Kyle, one of my favorite. Let's just say I got really spoiled this last week. Anyway, I come back with just this, I don't know how to explain it, but let me just share this with you. One of the key moments for me in the conference was when, I think it might have been Pastor Chuck who got up and said, if you are not teaching Bible prophecy to your church, you are robbing people of that which God has for them in these last days as their pastor. And it sort of confirmed to me that the decision that we made, going on 2 years now, it was actually October of 2006, that I really had sensed from the Lord that we needed to start doing prophecy updates every week, like we do on Sundays. And now for almost 2 years now, we have been every Sunday, for the exception of a couple of Sundays, like, for example, Easter and Christmas. But every Sunday we've been doing these prophecy updates, and it just really encouraged me because I think it is so important to be keeping watch on the events that are taking place in these last days geopolitically, because, church, the Lord's return draws nigh. I believe we are so close to the rapture of the church of Jesus Christ. And now is our salvation nearer, as the Apostle Paul said, than it was before. We need to understand the times in which we live. We are living in ominous times, perilous times, and it's going to get worse. Norman Geisler spoke on the emerging church. I wanted to kind of just ask you, show of hands, how many of you are familiar with what the emerging or emergent church is? That's okay if not, but can you just hold them up for real quick? Okay. Listen, I think it is imperative that at some point, perhaps in the not too distant future, that we take a look at what is coming. Well, not what's coming, it's already here. More so, perhaps more pronounced on the mainland, but this quote-unquote emerging church is very, very evil, denying the deity of Christ, the need for the Scriptures. They have a low view of God's Word. And these, I'm not going to get started on that. We don't have much time, and I'll keep going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. Anyway, the emerging church does, in fact, even fulfill a prophecy about what would take place in the church in the last days, and it's here and it's now. Well, we take a look at Israel in our Bible prophecy updates. And today I want to look at something that made the news last week, and it's out of Iran with none other than Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. By the way, this photograph of him raising his hands, he's not praising God. He's praising a God, maybe, but it's not our God, the true and living God. USA Today on Friday had this headline reading, Ahmadinejad predicts end of Israel, satanic power in USA. Now, before I read the article, understand that with regards to Islam, Israel is the little Satan, and the United States of America is the great Satan. Now, there is a prophecy that says that they will call evil good and good evil. I don't know if you've noticed this or not lately, but it is, the Christians and the Jews are the evil ones. And Islam is peace-loving and the good ones. In the last days, they will call evil good and good evil, and we'll see that here, where it says, Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad predicted yesterday that Israel will soon be, quote, erased, and that the satanic power of the United States will be annihilated, according to reports from Tehran. You should know that the criminal and terrorist Zionist regime, speaking of Israel, which has 60 years of plundering, aggression, and crimes in its file, has reached the end of its work and will soon disappear off the geographical scene, he said, according to Reuters. Understand that the goal of Islam is to annihilate, exterminate, eliminate Israel completely, to wipe her off the map, to erase her off the map so that she is a nation no more. Do you realize that this is a fulfillment of a prophecy found in an obscure place, of all places, in the book of Psalms, the 83rd Psalm? The psalmist cries out to God on behalf of Israel, God's chosen people, and says, "O God, do not keep silent. Be not quiet, O God. Be not still. See how your enemies are astir, how your foes rear their heads. With cunning they conspire against your people. They plot against those you cherish. Come, they say," watch this, "let us destroy them as a nation. Let us erase them," according to Ahmadinejad, "as a nation, that the name of Israel be remembered no more." Do you realize that this prophecy is time sensitive? Prior to 1948, this prophecy was not fulfillable, if I can say it that way, because Israel had not returned to the land yet, which fulfilled a host of prophecies. I believe that the clock started ticking in 1948. I believe that the timeline, the clock began to sort of go faster in 1967. And we're seeing even now as it just escalates. And here we are in 2008. And we have the likes of an Iranian president, an Islamic country, who is saying what the psalmist cried out and said they would say prophetically, "Let us wipe Israel off the map." Well, on Thursday, the Japan Times had this article about Ahmadinejad and how he rejected the call to give up his nuclear program. This was actually in Rome that this took place. Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad rejected Prime Minister Yasuo Fukuda's request Tuesday that his country respond to international calls to halt its uranium enrichment activities. Fukuda met the Iranian leader in Rome on the sidelines of a UN meeting on food security. Fukuda expressed hope that Japan and Iran would be able to build a closer relationship, but added that Tehran's nuclear activities stand in the way, according to a foreign ministry official.